Okay.
All right.
Good morning, class. This is Miss Tolden, and in celebration of Black History Month, I would like to introduce my friend, Adelaide Wilson, and she's going to share with you something about Sierra Leone. Good morning, Adelaide.
Good morning, Robin. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. So go ahead and share something with my students about your life, Sierra Leone, and anything else you'd like to share.
Okay. As this is Black History Month, I feel like I need to share with you some part of Black history that is not normally known among American children. Hello, everyone. My name is Adelaide Wilson. I am an African, and I'm from Freetown, Sierra Leone in West Africa. You would wonder why an African has a name similar to an American name. Well, it is a slave name. My ancestors had been slaves in the area of the United States, which is referred to as Low Country. Does any one of you know which area in America that's called Low Country? Well, Low Country is the coastal area around Georgia and South Carolina, where slaves from Sierra Leone were brought by the British slave traders to settle. They brought them to Low Country area because Sierra Leone is geographically similar to that of the Low Country. They are similar because of the large area of swamp, which is the perfect place to plant rice. Rice was the major product in Sierra Leone in those days, and Sierra Leoneans were experts in rice planting. The British saw that as an opportunity to bring them to America as slaves so they could use their expertise to plant rice for them. The slave masters could not stand the weather, the heat, nor the mosquitoes. So they thought that the slaves would do that job for them. How many of you have heard of Harriet Tubman? How many of you have heard of the Underground Railroad? Good. Well, with the help of Harriet Tubman, some of the slaves from the Low Country, that is South Carolina and Georgia, were able to escape through what is known as the Underground Railroad. 2 years ago, Cynthia Erivo, um, there was a movie by Cynthia Erivo. I don't know if any of you saw it. It's called Harriet. Well, that's basically a story of my people. They traveled secretly through the Underground Railroad, all the way from South Carolina to Georgia, and then to New York. After a while, some of them crossed the border into Nova Scotia. In Nova Scotia, these now freed slaves decided they wanted to go back to Africa. So on May 15th, 1787, 400 of these freed slaves arrived in Sierra Leone. They were the first freed Black Africans to go back to Africa. The area of the country they settled in was called Freetown in their honor, in honor of the freed slaves. These settlers, as they were now called, kept their names because in Africa, people do not just choose a name, especially their last names have to have a meaning, whose son it is or whose daughter she is. So they decided to just keep their slave names, which is a way of identifying themselves as people who had been slaves in America. For example, a man named Baibure. Bai means chief, so Chief Bure. So if somebody is called Baibure, it means he's a chief, and his name is Bure, so it's Chief Bure. Or Pa, P-A, means son of. So if somebody is called Pa Modu, that means he is the son of a man called Modu. And so the slaves decided, well, we don't know who our African ancestors are anymore, so we better just keep our names as it is. At least it will tell us and our children and grandchildren that we were once slaves in America. Uh, Today, these freed slaves still live in Freetown, some of them. Their ancestors, their children, grandchildren, great-great-great-grandchildren, and they still try to carry the same names and their tradition as best as they could. They are called Creoles, Creoles. When I'm finished, I would give Ms. Stolden a list of words that you should look up as assignment. Either you do it before this presentation or after. Ms. Stolden will decide how she wants to do it. But it would be good for you guys to have these names, and it would help you understand for yourselves when you do the research, you read about these people and their names. So they are called Creoles, and today we still have Creoles living in Sierra Leone, and they speak a language called Creole, K-R-I-O. I guess it's a version of the word Creole. And Creole means a mixture of people, because by the time they returned as freed Blacks to Africa, they had lost most of their culture and their um, their language. So they had to make up their own language. And they started with during the Underground Railroad when they were escaping. They had developed a language which in South Carolina today is called Geechee. So Geechee is a form of the Creole language. These slaves, they were very smart. Don't let anybody tell you that Black people are not smart, because they used the English language and developed their own language. So they're using their slave masters' language to develop their own language to communicate among themselves without the slave masters understanding what they were doing and what they were saying. So that's how Creole started. And over the years, they had other influences. Only it was not just British people who treated them as slaves. They had other people involved too, the Italians, the Spanish, the French. Everybody was having a piece of the pie. And in the meantime, they were influencing the slaves. So Creole now has been developed into a language based on French, English, Spanish, and other African languages. Now, how do we identify ourselves as Creoles? Through our language, as I've just explained, through our culture, and the way we dress, and our religion also. The Creoles are basically either Christians or they're Muslims. Now, over the years, after the first set of 400 freed slaves went back to Sierra Leone, other slaves came, they kept coming back, kept coming back. Some of them went to Liberia, and that's the group that most Americans know, because the Americans kind of like followed them and supported them throughout until they had their own independence. But the first set of slaves came from Sierra Leone. In fact, most of the slaves that came to America came from Sierra Leone. If you search the history, you have to go to the African American museums, and if you search them, the well-documented slave trade slaves came from Sierra Leone. Um, so our culture now includes our language, our dress, our religion. We have carefully combined the American, the British culture with the African culture. And you could see that when we celebrate events. For example, for weddings, we have the bride and groom dressed in uh, British attire. They wear the same normal outfit that anybody would wear, any bride and groom would wear in America or in England. Because by the time we went back to Sierra Leone, we could not wear African clothes anymore. We did not know about that. So that's all we knew. We continued with what we knew, but then we started including African culture as we learned, as we went along over the years. And what I'm wearing now is a dress that was developed. I'm gonna try to do a video so you can see the entire outfit and send it to Ms. Tolden so she can share that with you too. But this is a unique dress that the Creoles in Sierra Leone wear. You cannot find this anywhere. And they usually have the head tie, the head wrap that matches the dress. And it's called a print dress. And the chest, it has embroidery, carefully embroidered with hand. It's done by hand.
Ooh.
Okay. So yes, I would take a picture or do a video and send to Ms. Tolden.
Could you
And of course,
stand up for a minute? At least we could see part of
okay,
it.
okay. Can you see it? It's uniquely shaped, and the back is the same. It has two box pleats and then a pocket. There's a pocket, a side pocket. And we have, it goes with we call it carpet slippers. This is canvas, made of canvas and hand stitched. The design is hand stitched and it goes with the dress. Now Africans, they love bright colors. So most of these shoes, which we call carpet slippers, I don't know why they call it that, but I think it's because of the canvas that it's made out of. But they are colorful. And so because of that, you can wear these shoes with any of the dresses, no matter what color. They figure it would go with any color dress you wear.
So pretty. I love it.
Yeah. I think that's all I have for right now.
Okay.
If you have any questions, maybe my questions would help you get more information. I mean, my answers will help you get more information.
Okay. We have a few questions. One of them is, what did you do for fun when you were a kid in Sierra Leone?
Oh, well, kids spend a lot of time outside. We have nice weather. We don't have winter and fall. We have rainy season and dry season. Half of the year it rains, most of the time, almost every day. So I'm used to rain. Rain does not bother me. And then the other half of the year is dry season. Summer is summer for 6 months. Sometimes it gets real hot, like in March, it's very hot. But when you live in a country, you're used to it. Now, when I go home, it's difficult for me. I'm running to get into an air-conditioned building.
Well, that sounds a lot like Tucson, where we live. It's
Exactly.
very
Yes,
hot. It
yes, it
hardly
is.
ever rains, though.
Oh,
Um,
really? Mhm.
Another
So,
question, with you were talking about that the slaves went to Nova Scotia, and
yeah,
I'm not sure that my class knows that Nova Scotia is in Canada, right?
yes. In fact, that was going to be one of the words on that list. They need to look up Nova Scotia. Yes, it is in Canada.
Okay, I have another question. Now, Freetown is not the whole country of Sierra Leone, right?
That's right.
So is
It's
Freetown different from the rest of the country?
it's the capital, so it's like any other capital city in the world. It's congested, got a lot of people, and it's the melting pot of Sierra Leone. It's in the it's along the coast of Sierra Leone, but it's just a tiny town
Oh, okay.
from the rest of Sierra Leone. But it's the most known, the most popular. Of course, it became the capital because
Okay.
when Sierra Leone was colonialized by the British, that's where they all stayed. The white folks stayed in Freetown, and they conducted business in Freetown.
Okay. So in Freetown is like a city.
It
Is
is
it,
the city, yeah.
and so the rest of the country, is there a lot of farms in the rest of the country, or how does the rest of the country look?
They have major cities. It's just as big as thriving as Freetown. And the country is divided up into what they call the protectorate. I guess you have states, we have protectorates, and within the protectorate is divided again into regions. I can't remember. I wasn't good at geography for one thing. And I wish I knew I would have to answer this question. I would have looked that up. But yeah, it's divided. They still have major cities like Bo is a major city. Bo, B-O, is a major city. And Kenema is another major city. And McKinney is another major city. So they are just as big and as developed as Freetown.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, we still have farms. The most of our food stuff, vegetables and stuff come from the outside of Freetown, from the protectorate, which they call it the protectorate.
Oh, okay. Which is a good question. We would like to know what kind of food do you eat in Sierra Leone?
Funnily, we eat the same stuff that you guys eat. Rice is our major, remember I shared that before. Rice is our major staple. You cannot go for 3 or 4 days without rice. That will kill a Sierra Leonean. They eat rice every day. And vegetables. We have all kinds of vegetables. And we love our leafy vegetables. Now, people will say, vegetables, leafy vegetables, but it depends on the way you cook it. It depends on the way you cook it. We have a unique way of cooking. We put all our stuff. We eat fish, meat, leafy vegetable, whatever you have, beans, all in the same pot.
Wow.
And I tell you, it comes out real good.
Okay.
So
Yum.
you eat fish. There is we have a coastline, so it's a lot of fishing going on too. So
Okay.
everyday fish is our everyday thing.
Okay.
Only when I moved to America, especially when I lived in Mississippi, we did not have fish. We did not have access to fish. I remember we have to go down to the coast to Biloxi and Gulfport to get fish. But fish is a big thing. You have to have
Oh,
fish. We eat fish every day.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
The next question is like, why did you move to the United States?
Well, my husband got a scholarship to study at Duke University. So we moved. I came with him. And eventually it took several years. A PhD program is not, I thought I was coming for 2 years, but we ended up staying for 5 years. And then by the time the fifth year was rolling over, they had problem. I had had 3 children by then, and we had problems in Sierra Leone. So we were advised to just stay. And as the years went by, my children were now Americans, and I did not want to take them to an unstable situation. And the Lord just made the provision, and America wanted us. They were like, please stay. And God
Good.
made it easy for us to change our citizenship. And I have not regretted making that decision.
Okay, thank you. We're glad
Yeah.
that you stayed also. Um, so was there a war in Sierra Leone? Was there political unrest?
Yes, yes, there was a war, and most times when I talk, when people ask me where are you from, I say Sierra Leone. All they could think of is the war, blood, diamonds, and terrible things happen. I don't want to share that with kids, with young kids, because it was terrible.
Okay.
But the reason for the war was because Sierra Leone is rich in diamonds,
Oh,
and folks wanted to have access to the diamonds and not paying. So we had outside influences that influenced the people, and the result was a war.
okay.
That's why we have,
Pretty great.
I would not mind sharing in person. Well,
Is there,
thank you so much by
can you say goodbye
inviting me.
in don't go off, but can you say goodbye in Creole?
Okay, Creole. Well, like I said, Creole is mostly English. So I will say let me say a sentence. Okay, I want to tell Una goodbye. Yeah. I hope Una go study hard and work hard so that in the future Una self go become responsible citizens. All right. If you don't understand what I said, I just said I want to say goodbye to you, and I hope you all would study hard, work hard, so you would become responsible citizens. Tata, bye bye, take care.
Okay.